Sony Deconi. They have nothing to do with this video. Okay, so now we have the Sony WF-1000XM3 plus 2 divided by 5 Pro in front of me. No, I'm just kidding. It's only like half of that name, but it's still quite a long name, and it's honestly, like, people should stop naming their products code names. Leave the code name as its professional name, but give it an official title to be an actual product. Like, no one's going to remember these as the WF-1000XM3s. People would pretty much rather say the XM3 or something like that. But you can't say XM3 because the WH-1000XM3s are also a thing. So Sony, you got to get your name right. You got to get your branding, not branding. You have got to get your product names. You got to get better product names, man. I mean, okay, enough of the complaints. Listen. Up next is a higher quality, truly wireless earbud that comes from Sony, of course. And the purpose of this is to provide you the maximum quality and the maximum noise cancellation properties that a truly wireless earbud can possibly give you. Okay, cool beans. Let's see if it lives up to the hype. Let's begin with the build quality. The build is entirely plastic. It's matte. It's a matte plastic, whether you get the matte black or the matte beige. And that's not white. Do not tell me this is white, okay? That's not white, that is beige. It's plastic, yes it is, but it's a very, very high quality plastic. And this plastic is making sound because I no longer have it paired to my phone, but I do have it paired to my iPad, so interesting. It includes 2 touch sensitive areas, those circles right there. Those 2 circles that are actually shiny, those are the highly sensitive areas that pretty much act as buttons for the device. More on their functions later in the review. They include 7 total pairs of ear tips. 4 of them are silicone and 3 of them are foam. The case is also made of matte plastic, and honestly, it has excellent tension on the hinge. Look, I'm doing this, and nothing happens. It's the slightest movement, but you can't even see the movement. I can only feel it in my hand. There it is. It has some excellent tension on the hinge, which means that these will rarely be just popping open by themselves and exposing the earbuds and then them just falling out. So excellent build on that, honestly, especially for the money. I mean, yeah, they're not cheap. They're $200 to $230, but it's pretty good, honestly. Build is quite impressive on these. I like it. The case also comes with a USB Type-C port. Thank you, Sony, for getting with the times. This is 2020 quality material right here. Type-C port? Yes, please. The case also has powerful magnets, if you can see them right there. Has powerful magnets that hold down the earbud. So if you just kind of want to plop it right in, kind of lazily. Ooh. Oops. Okay, well, there's a reason I haven't signed up for the NBA. Now, as far as the contents go, comes with the earphones, comes with the 7 ear tips, like I said. It comes with a case, obviously. It comes with a short USB-A to USB-C cable, and it comes with various instruction manuals for explaining how to do things and yada yada. And the wrapping of the product itself inside the box actually explains the process to you as you start unboxing the device. So that's a really cool thing too. As far as the comfort goes, yeah, listen, these are easily my least favorite thing about these things because I struggle with the fitment of IEMs and earbuds, which is why I don't own any. As far as my on-the-go solution goes, I either use the Cosporta Pros or I use my Venture Electronic Monks because they keep they provide a more open experience and they don't dig deep into your ears to create that kind of like submerged feeling. And also, they don't fall off as often because they're not, wedged into your ear canal. It might be that my ear canals just get really narrow far too quickly, but like I really have to jam these deep into my ears if I don't want them to just slide out within a few seconds. It's look at this thing. Look at this thing. And I'm using one of the smallest sizes too. I was using the smallest silicone tips, but then I switched over to the foam to see if it was any better. Plot twist, or lack thereof, it doesn't get better. It fits equally as bad. On a good day, they just might stay in. They just might. And on top of that, I find it hard to normalize my breathing with these. So I don't know if this happens to any of you, but whenever I plug up my ears with earplugs or, IEMs or earbuds, especially if they're meant to provide like a sort of ANC type of thing, I find it really hard to normalize my breathing, where I kind of just like, I'm sitting there and I'm listening to music and the people around me, all they can hear is like, and like, it's weird. It's honestly just, it feels so weird. I can't. I really just can't. As far as comfort with these go, I can't. The tech in these is one of the best things about these because, and by the way, I've been running these on firmware 2.0.2 because I went ahead and looked online and noticed that these started to have issues with the ANC, with the sound quality, with range connection and stuff like that, the stability and what have you, when you update it to the newest software. So I said, nope, let's try it out stock without updating and see if if it improves anything. They offer noise canceling. Mind you, it's fantastic, by the way. Spoilers, it's pretty good. It's some pretty good noise cancellation. It doesn't sound like let's say like Bose noise cancellation, where it sounds like a hiss in the background, but it cancels out well, but it's kind of like, well, okay, I had the annoying sound replaced by another annoying sound, so not really a win. No. They just cancel the noise. They just cancel and it's done. It's really cool. Now, the buttons that I mentioned can be customized to do ambient sound control, playback controls, Amazon Alexa. They can be volume control, and they can serve as the Google Assistant. Now, to get the Google Assistant to work on iOS, you have to download the Google Assistant app from the App Store. But on Android or Galaxies or anything else, you should be good to go. I should mention also that when you remove these from your ears, they stop playing music automatically, which is something that is universally compatible, that works on Android and iPhone. So, very nice, Sony. I'm glad you're not being partial here and you're playing both sides equally. As far as the Bluetooth in these go, they offer Bluetooth 5.0, which is the best of the best in the industry that I know of, as far as truly wireless earbuds go. They also have a quick charge feature that offers up to 90 minutes of playback from 10 minutes of charging. Imagine I have two hands in front of me. 10 minutes charging right there. They also feature this thing called Digital Sound Enhancement Engine HX Pro, which upscales compressed audio into high-res audio. Well, supposedly, right? That's the claim. Now, I did try these both out, using both the sound quality mode and then sound quality plus enhancement engine turned on. Honestly, it does make a difference. It makes your music sound more full and closer to what it would be. I just don't want to say necessarily audiophile, but a wired headphone experience, like a quality headphone experience. Now, as far as the battery life in these go, the buds themselves have 6 hours of battery life, but they can gain an additional 18 hours from the case. So in total, you have 24 hours of battery life in one whole charge, which is good. And the range as far as this goes is honestly really iffy. With enhancement engine turned on with sound quality, I got 13 steps before I started to hear some distortion and cutoffs. Not distortion, but just the sound cutting off and blinking out. With just sound quality, like focus on sound quality, the priority, I got 12 steps. And with the signal strength turned on, I got 16 steps. So yeah, these aren't really going to be like get away from these and do, run around all over the warehouse doing your work or whatever while your phone sits on the desk. No, that's just not going to happen. Or at the very least, outside, it won't happen. Inside, that might be a different thing. But, well, because of this whole situation, I don't really have a large area to go to test these out at. So, look, as far as inside my house goes, I was able to leave my phone at my desk and go to the kitchen and get something and come back. And they had no connection issues, no problems, no blipping, nothing at all. So Inside, you might fare better, but if you're going to use these outside, that's what you're looking at. And now we jump into the sound quality. Oh yes, do we jump into the sound quality? Okay, so as far as the bass is concerned, it's impressive. I mean, look, I'm not going to cut any corners here, man. It's impressive. These things offer some very well-controlled bass, although it's not completely emphasized, because yes, there is a slight amount of emphasis on that bass. Just E, tiny little line. And it's quite close to neutral. It still remains punchy and full of energy, without pushing forward any type of bloat in the bass response. It's interesting. Like, wow, I'm legitimately impressed with the bass on these. An example, Zealots of Stockholm. That bass note had, the most mild of bloom to it, but it had some great texture on it with that bit of sprinkle at the top of the bass note that I keep mentioning. Now on that rise, there was a tiny little honk in the note exactly at 126 that I'd never really heard before. I'm not saying that it's a detail that I've never heard before. I mean that it's part of the frequency response in the bass that kind of, I don't know, just kind of made me like, question mark pop on top of my head, like, oh, what's that? But honestly, other than that one little catch, that one little gripe, bass response on these is actually really impressive. It really is. Now, another part of Zealots of Stockholm, at minute 3:07, that valley had some great extension. Like, it played for the majority of that valley, where the bass note just dips and then it comes back up. And it's impressive, really impressive. Dream On, the Postmodern Jukebox cover. The string bass could have been a tad boomy, but it never obstructed any of the other instruments. So I want to make that very clear, that although that bass note was a tad too forward and a bit like a tad boomy, it never obstructed the other instruments. Everything else was able to play with excellent separation and excellent detail to it. So very impressive on that regard. Now we jump into the mids. Female vocals have excellent detail and texture. They were quite forward and distinguishable. This thing was actually impressive. Again, Dream On by Postmodern Jukebox, and that cello solo, my God, like the detail in that cello solo, Jesus. It's like whenever I mention with an audiophile headphone, like, oh my God, in the cello solo, I can hear the pizzicato, and I'm not just hearing the note, I can hear the person plucking the string, and I can hear the tiny vibrations and I can hear that with these. Granted, not completely as well as with a wired headphone that is being powered by an expensive DAC amp and yada yada, but dude, $200, truly wireless, Sony, like, they're a great brand, but they're not known exactly for like super audiophile stuff. Like, my God, just my God. Now the male vocals, at the beginning of Titanium, I can hear Von Smith lick his lips. Like, it's super distinguishable. I can only do that with an audiophile headphone. With any other standard headphone or Bluetooth headphone or what have you, that's just a part of the detail that's not there. And if it is there, it's just like, well, who cares? It sounds like kind of bad, honestly. Wow. Just wow. Honestly. And now we get into the treble. Okay, so this one's interesting. The treble has some sizzle. It does. It has some zing to it. It has extreme detail, like extreme levels of detail. Generally speaking, the highs are mostly smooth. They do have a little bit of a peak where the S's and the THs lie, but with a very minor EQ adjustment in the Sony Connect app, and that EQ would only apply to these headphones. So if you plugged in something else, another Bluetooth product, or another, like a wired headphone, or you plug this into a car, that EQ wouldn't apply. It would just apply to these. So I am including this as part of the sound quality because it can be something completely exclusive to this, that it's not one setting that you have to permanently, like, constantly be changing back and forth in your settings. Like, it's just you make this adjustment and it's done. If you go ahead, listen, there are two different changes that I could suggest for you. If you bring down that 6.3 kilohertz by like 2 decibels, just 2, and 15.6 kilohertz by 1, just that's it. Like, only on the sharpest of tracks will you have to do this to make them sound like absolutely, like, not spot on, they'll still be bright, but to correct the tiny little issues. Or on some less treble heavy tracks, you can just turn on 6.3K by 1 decibel. You can choose either one of those two, regardless, I mean, depending on your treble preference. But regardless of that treble preference and regardless of that adjustment to the treble response, these things have a lot of detail on the high end. Like, I forget that these things are wireless. I mean, like, honestly. Now, yeah, I mean, if you're going from something like an extremely high-end Summit Fi headphone, and then you put these in your ears, you're going to say, well, yeah, I mean, well, they're Bluetooth headphones. But, dude, you give it a minute, and you forget. You honestly, your ears become so easily acclimated to that minor, like, maybe sounds like a Bluetooth headphone response, and it's done. And it's done. And these sound like a very, very promising, like, audiophile-ish product, honestly. Especially with those minor EQ settings applied. So look, as far as soundstage and imaging goes, wow. I mean, they're not the most wide, honestly, even as far as Bluetooth headphones go. But their imaging is just incredible. So let me explain the difference here. With other truly wireless Bluetooth headphones, I found that because of their design, the soundstage is a little wonky, a little weird, where it kind of like, it sounds like the soundstage kind of takes the shape of the headphone, I mean, of the earphone itself, where it's kind of like, well, the earphone's in kind of an L shape, so the sound sounds like it's coming from an L-shaped room or something like that, and it makes this weird thing. But with the Sonys, it's just this, it is what it is. It's the familiar soundstage. It's full. There's no weird edges or shapes to it. It's the soundstage. And the imaging is also very, very impressive, honestly. It really is. Like, I tried Hotel California for the sake of imaging, and yeah, these things punch way up there. They're impressive. So look, now we're going to reach the overall conclusion here, and I have a message for Sony. Sony, I am absolutely pissed at you, because how could you make such an excellent sounding product, then make it unbearable for me to wear? How do you do this? Because look, Jesus. After a while, including while writing this review, by the way, I just grew annoyed of the submerged feeling and the constant readjustments that I had no choice but to just wedge it deep into my ear canals, which obviously made my ears hurt after a while, and I had to take them off. So, look, these things are an exciting listen with a tad too much energy in the treble, but it's very easily correctable. So it's an excellent frequency response, honestly. Yes, on the exciting side. I wouldn't call these exactly V-shaped, but I would call them more like U-shaped, probably. If you can actually wear these somehow, and they don't slide off of your ear, if they don't fall out, if they don't hurt your ears, they honestly offer the best tech in the market in mid-2020 and offer the best sound quality from what I have heard thus far from a truly wireless earphone. Like, my God, I was incredibly impressed by the sound on these. These things promise you high quality sound, and that's what you're getting. You're getting the high quality sound that they promised, honestly. But honestly, yeah, if they can fix the fit, or if they can at least give you some wingtips to wear with these, you're all set. You don't need anything else for truly wireless or for on the go. You just need these, and then you can come home and wear your Sennheisers or Odysseys or Hi-Fiman, whatever. You can come back home and wear those, but in the meanwhile, you can be perfectly happy wearing these all day long while you're at work, while you're on the train, while you're in the plane, you're in the Ukraine. I have made this joke before. I am fucking sorry. Anyways, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the videos. Remember, this is not a mainstream consumer audio channel, but again, I was going through these, wanted to find something, and oh boy, did I find some things. Again, don't forget to check out the Patreon, and I hope this video really helps you out, because it definitely helped me out. Really changed my perspective on a few things. So, thank you very much, and see you in the next one.